The ocean floor is as different as the land we walk on. It has mountains, plains, valleys, ridges, and volcanoes. The continental shelf is the closest to the shore.
It's what we stand on when we go to the beach. It goes until the water is 140 meters deep. Sometimes the continental shelf can be short or it can go on for miles.
The continental slope is when the continental shelf ends and the land goes straight down. The continental slope is really steep. It connects the continental shelf to the ocean floor. The ocean floor is the bottom of the ocean. The ocean floor is not flat. On the ocean floor there are many volcanoes. The ocean floor has seamounts. A seamount is a mountain underwater. If the seamount goes above water, it's called an island.
There are also trenches in the bottom of the ocean floor. A trench is a long and narrow, deep part of the ocean. The deepest trench is the Mariana Trench, which is 35,827 feet deep. Density is how close or far molecules are from each other. Temperature affects density. Warm water floats because it is less dense.
Colder water sinks to the bottom because it is more dense. We did an experiment to see this. In the experiment, we first had a cup of red hot water and a cup of blue cold water.
Then we poured both the red and blue water into Morley's density tank. It's special because it has a plastic divider to separate it in the middle. We took off the divider and the water began to mix.
The red hot water went on the top, and the cold blue water went to the bottom. In the middle there was dark purple. The ocean is just like the experiment we did. The warmer water is at the surface of the ocean, the colder water is at the bottom of the ocean, and the middle is the medium temperatured water. When an underwater volcano erupts, it makes the water hot. This water goes to the top. When a glacier melts, the freezing cold water travels downwards.
Salinity is the amount of salt in water. Something with a high salinity has a lot of salt in it. Something with a low salinity doesn't have a lot of salt in it. Salinity affects how dense the water is. Something with a high salinity will sink to the bottom because it is more dense.
Something with a low salinity will float to the top because it is less dense. We did an experiment with 4 different colored solutions. A solution is a mixture of water and salt. Each of the solutions had different salinity levels. To do the experiment, we dropped 50 drops of one solution into a test tube. Then we added 50 drops of a second colored solution. The solution that was most dense went to the bottom, and the solution that was less dense went to the top. If the first solution stayed on the bottom and the second solution stayed on the top, the first one was more dense.
If the colors mixed, the second solution was more dense. The yellow solution was the most dense. It had 4 spoonfuls of salt. The red was the second most dense. It had 2 spoonfuls of salt.
The green one was the second to least dense. It had 1 spoonful of salt. The blue was the least dense. There was no added salt in the blue solution. In the ocean, the salt comes from rocks.
You'll find the highest salinity at the bottom of the ocean. You'll find the lowest salinity at the top of the ocean. In the middle, you'll find a medium amount of salinity. Over time, the rocks get worn down by the water in the ocean. The Dead Sea is so salty, so it has the highest salinity and is the most dense. Wind makes waves move. A crest is the top of the wave. A trough is the bottom of the wave. Waves are bigger at the top and smaller at the bottom. A wavelength is how long a wave is from crest to crest.
A wave height is how tall a wave is from trough to crest. A wave speed, called celerity, is how fast a wave moves.
In class, we made our own wave using our bodies. We crouched down in a line.
One by one, we stood up and raised our hands and crouched back down. We did not switch places.
This is connected to a real wave because we moved up and down, and a real wave also moves up and down and not side to side. There are 3 different zones in the ocean.
The zones are the sunlight zone, twilight zone, and the midnight zone.
The sunlight zone has the most light because it is the closest to the sun.
The twilight zone has less light because it is further away from the sun.
The midnight zone has the least light of all the zones because it is the furthest away from the sun.
The sunlight zone is the warmest of the zones.
The twilight zone is colder than the sunlight zone.
The midnight zone is the coldest of all the zones.
In the sunlight zone, you'll find animals like clams, crabs, and lobster.
You will also find sharks, sea stars, eels, jellyfish, krill, plankton, and fish.
In the twilight zone, you will find animals like sharks, whales, and some fish.
In the midnight zone, you will find animals like lanternfish, dwarf lantern sharks, giant and regular tube worms, giant clams, anglerfish, and hatchetfish.
As you go down the zones of the ocean, the pressure gets a lot higher the deeper you go because of the amounts of water above you.
The food chain is how bigger animals will eat smaller animals that will eat even smaller animals. The food chain always starts with the sun. A trophic level is what step the animal is on the food chain. This is an example of a food chain. The first trophic level is phytoplankton.
Phytoplankton are primary producers.
A primary producer is an animal that gets energy from the sun.
The next trophic level is zooplankton.
The third trophic level is krill.
The final level is a whale shark.
An animal that eats another animal on the food chain is called a predator. After one animal dies, decomposers come and eat it up. Decomposers are not a trophic level because they eat everything.
If one of the animals on the food chain becomes extinct, the food chain is broken. That means there would be increases and decreases of different animals.
Have you ever looked up and saw a shark-like shape? Perhaps you spotted a great white shark. The great white shark has rough skin, a gray pointy tail, grayish-brown fins like the dorsal fin, and a pointy head. It has light blue on the sides and white on its belly. The white on its belly allows the great white shark to camouflage into the sun of the sunlight zone. The great white's eyes can turn back around into their head to make sure that no blood gets into their eyes. The great white shark has 2 holes on its nose, which allows it to sense creatures' heartbeat from up to 2 miles away. The great white shark lives in oceans worldwide and sometimes goes to the shore. The great white shark lives in the sunlight zone and the twilight zone. The great white shark sometimes eats its siblings. The great white shark is a warm-blooded killer, which means it eats creatures with warm blood. The great white shark eats fat animals like fish, seals, sea lions, and other sharks. It will often not eat humans because they are not fat enough. The great white shark can leap high out of the water to catch birds and other prey. The great white shark sometimes goes to the sunlight zone to catch prey in the coral reefs, but goes to the twilight zone to catch bigger fish like tuna and other sharks. The great white shark eats in something called a feeding frenzy. A feeding frenzy is when it eats a big school of fish and a couple of great white sharks join together to eat. The great white shark can also increase or decrease its blood temperature to keep the shark warm in cold water. The great white shark has a hole in its nose to pick up electric senses from other creatures' heartbeats. The great white shark has no babies till it is 10 to 12 years old. The great white shark is a loner, which means it hunts by itself. The great white shark can grow to be 23 feet long. The great white shark is one of the most known sharks in the world. The great white shark is the biggest fish-eating creature in the ocean. The great white shark is barely known for any attacks on humans. The great white shark has the strongest bite of any creature living today. The great white shark can sense blood from up to 2 miles away. Don't kill the great white sharks because there are not that many left in the world. Help the great white shark survive.
Look in the coral. There's a seahorse camouflaging. Seahorses are very colorful. They come in different colors like pink, blue, orange, or red. Seahorses have bony plates. They also have a prehensile tail. They also have a coronet. They also have a long snout. Seahorses are carnivores. They eat plankton, crustaceans, and shrimp. They live in coral reefs in warm coastal waters. They live in the sunlight zone. They let small organisms settle on their bodies. Both of its eyes can move at the same time in all different directions. This is helpful because they can see if something sneaks up on them and tries to eat them. The prehensile tail can hold on to things like coral. There are 35 kinds of seahorses. Males and females often change colors and dance to show their interest. When the female lays eggs, they go in the male's pouch. A herd is a group of young seahorses. Seahorses stay with the same mate. The seahorse is my favorite sea creature because they are so colorful.
Are you a picky eater?
Well, the tiger shark is not. They can eat trash. Tiger sharks get their name from the markings on their bodies. A tiger shark has a large body and can grow to weigh up to 140 pounds. Tiger sharks have triangular-shaped fins with a big and powerful back fin that swivels and moves back and forth. Tiger sharks have large black eyes on the side of its head. Tiger sharks need sharp teeth to eat and kill its prey. Tiger sharks eat anything, including garbage in the ocean. They help keep the ocean clean by eating the trash. They also eat seals, dolphins, sea turtles, and fish. Their favorite food is squid. They will also eat birds and other sharks. Tiger sharks live in oceans all over the world. They mostly live in warmer and tropical waters. They like to hunt in warm, shallow waters. When they are not hunting, they move to deeper water. Their dark black eyes help them see in dark or cloudy water. Their triangular-shaped fins help them swim through the water smoothly to help the shark change directions fast. An amazing adaptation is that the tiger shark can smell their prey. Tiger sharks are important because they keep the oceans clean and help the environment by keeping fish populations from growing too large.
Have you ever seen a devil in the ocean? You must have seen a manta ray because it is also called the devilfish. Manta rays are beautiful creatures and really graceful swimmers. Their pectoral fins are 6 meters to 9 meters, which is 19.7 feet to 29.5 feet long, which is almost as long as a school bus. They have smooth skin, and some of them have these colors on their skin, which is black, gray, blue, and white. Their mouth is 8 feet wide, wider than the height of a basketball player. They have no teeth, but instead of teeth, they have tiny plates. They have no bones, but instead of bones, they have soft cartilage. Their body is torpedo-shaped, and they can weigh up to 3,000 pounds. The manta ray lives in tropical waters or in rocks and on the continental shelf. They also live in the sunlight zone near coral reefs. Manta rays migrate to find their food because the food that they eat travels to different places. They have pectoral fins that move up and down to propel their body through the water. They also have short tails which allow them to be more acrobatic with their movement. They have lobes to channel water into their mouth to collect their food. Then they channel the water out through their gill rakers. The manta ray hunts to get its food. Sometimes a group of manta rays make an underwater tornado to catch plankton. They will eat 60 pounds of plankton per day. They will also eat krill, small fish, and shrimp. The manta ray's scientific name is Manta barostris. The manta ray is also called a blanket fish because its wingspan is so large. The manta ray is a filter feeder. There are more than 400 types of manta rays. They can leap 5 to 15 feet out of the water. Their predators are sharks, killer whales, and humans. You are a predator of a manta ray because they have livers which are rich in oil. They are also hunted for their meat and hides. Some people use their gills to treat cancer. Their lifespan is 15 to 20 years, and they can swim up to 15 miles per hour. They have a good sense of smell. They visit cleaning stations. They can only have 1 or 2 pups at a time. We should take care of the ocean to help the manta rays survive because manta rays are almost extinct. Look, there's a plastic bag in the ocean. Let's go take a look. Ouch! Ah! It's a stinging plastic bag. It's a Portuguese man of war. The Portuguese man of war often comes in blue or purple. A Portuguese man of war is a colony of polyps. They have no brain, no heart, and no blood vessels, but they can still transfer food such as fish fry, small fish, plankton, and shrimp into their mouths using their tentacles. The Portuguese man of war lives in warm water seas in the sunlight zone. They live in shallow waters in the ocean in every continent except Antarctica. It looks like a bag. This way, when other animals come to feast on it, it starts to sting. If the Portuguese man of war stings someone, it can make them ill for several days. If people get stung by a Portuguese man of war, which is very rare, they get big red burns. A lot of times, one or many of the man of war's tentacles fall off. You should watch out for this because the tentacles can sting even if they fall off. Their tentacles help protect themselves because they can sting. We should take care of the ocean to help the Portuguese man of war survive.
Have you ever seen a shark as big as a school bus? You might have seen a whale shark. Whale sharks have a flat, streamlined, smooth body. They have stripes and spots on its back to help it camouflage in the ocean. It could be seen in brown, blue, or gray. It weighs 15 to 20 tons. The whale shark's mouth is 58 inches wide and has 300 rows of tiny teeth. The whale shark is a filter feeder. A filter feeder takes a huge gulp of water and then ejects the water through its gills. Its favorite food to eat is krill, but it also eats squid, plankton, small fish such as tuna and sardines, and crustaceans such as shrimp and crabs. The whale shark is a carnivore. A carnivore is something that only eats meat. The whale shark is threatened by humans. Humans use it for blubber and oil. Orcas eat them because they are an easy target. They live in all continents except Antarctica, and whale sharks live in the sunlight and twilight zone. They sometimes lay eggs and sometimes they give birth. The whale shark swims with a lot of fish to protect it. Its bones are made out of cartilage to help it turn. The whale shark's phylum is Chordata. Its class is Chondrichthyes. Its order is Orlectolabiformes, and its family is Rhynchodontidae. The whale shark's scientific name is Rhynchodon typus. Its top speed is 5 miles per hour. The whale shark usually has a litter of 12. It lives 60 to 70 years. The whale shark is 100% safe to humans because it does not eat humans. We should take care of the ocean to help the whale shark survive because there are only 9,000 to 10,000 left.
Don't you just love the ocean? People use the ocean for a lot of different things. People get food from the ocean like salmon and other fish. The ocean is really important to us because we get a lot of oxygen from the phytoplankton in the ocean.
We also use it to find minerals to take medicines. We also get fresh water from desalination plants and from rain. The ocean also gives us energy. Most of all, we use it for fun.
People have fun in the ocean, scuba diving, hanging out on the beach, surfing, sailing, kayaking, fishing, and swimming. Oceans affect where people live. They affect how people live because you get more moderate weather. In the fall it's warmer and in the spring it's colder.
If you live next to the ocean, it's also more likely to have more floods because of the extreme weather. Oceans also affect where people live because of transportation.
There are docks and ports on the ocean so the boats can land and let cargo or people off. People affect the ocean in a lot of different ways.
One way people affect the ocean is by littering on the beach. People throw things they don't need into the ocean and treat it like a big dump. The car exhaust and other pollution also affects the ocean. Overfishing also affects the ocean because when you fish too much, it makes a creature endangered or even extinct.
People can help the ocean by picking up trash. They can talk about the ocean so more people know about it. People can also keep trash out of the ocean and recycle more. People can also be more careful when fishing and not catch as many fish.